All right, so as soon as I say I'm not going to do another one, wife's like, you got to read Works and Days because it's really good. It's a lot easier. All right, dude. So I guess I will. I'm going to do Works and Days by Hesiod, and it'll probably sound just as shitty as the last one, but I don't care. So, Works and Days. Muses from Piera, glorifying in songs, come here, telling hymns of your father Zeus, though whom mortal men are unfamed and famed alike, and named and unnamed by the will of great Zeus. For easily he strengthens, and easily he crushes the strong, easily he diminishes the conspicuous, and increases the inconspicuous, and easily he straightens the crooked, and withers the proud. High thundering Zeus, who dwells in the loftiest mansions, give ear to me, watching and listening, and straighten the verdicts with justice yourself. As for me, I will proclaim truths to Persis. There is not just one birth of strife, after all, but upon the earth there are two strifes. One of these a man would praise once he got to know it, but the other is blameworthy, and they have thoroughly opposed spirits. For the one fosters evil war and conflict, cruel one. No mortal loves that one, but it is by necessity that they honor the oppressive strife by the plans of the immortals. But the other one is gloomy, night bore first, and Cronus, his high-throned son who dwells in the ether, set it in the roots of the earth, and it is much better for men. It rouses even the helpless man to work, for a man who is not working but who looks at some other man, a rich one who is hastening to plow and plant and set his house in order, he envies him, one neighbor envying his neighbor who is hastening towards wealth, and his strife is good for mortals. And potter is angry with potter, and builder with builder, and beggar begrudges beggar, and poet poet. Persis, do store this up in your spirit, lest gloating strife keep your spirit away from work, while you gawk at quarrels and listen to the assembly. For he has little care for quarrels and assemblies, whoever does not have plentiful means of life stored up indoors in good season. What the earth bears, Demeter's grain. When you can take your fill of that, when you might foster quarrels and conflict for the sake of another man's wealth, but you will not have a second chance to act this way. No, let us decide our quarrel right here with straight judgments, which come from Zeus, the best ones. For already we have divided up our allotment, but you snatched much more besides, and went carrying it off greatly, honoring the kings, those gift eaters who want to pass this judgment. Fools, they do not know how much more than half is than the whole, nor how great the boon is in Malo and Asphodel. For the gods keep the means of life concealed. Hold on. From human beings. Otherwise, you would easily be able to work in just one day so as to have enough for a whole year without working, and quickly you would store the rudder above the smoke, and the work of the cattle and of the hard-working mules would be ended. But Zeus concealed it, angry in his heart, because crooked-counseled Prometheus, forethought, had deceived him. For that reason he devised baneful evils for human beings, and he concealed fire, and the good son of Iapetus stole it back from the counselor Zeus in a hollow fennel stalk for human beings, escaping the notice of Zeus, who delights in the thunderbolt. But the cloud-gatherer Zeus spoke to him in anger. Son of Iapetus, you who know counsels beyond all others, you are pleased that you have stolen fire and beguiled my mind, a great grief for you yourself and for men to come. To them shall I give in exchange for fire an evil in which they may all take pleasure in their spirit, embracing their own evil. So he spoke and laughed out loud, the father of men and of gods. He commanded renowned Hephaestus to mix earth and water as quickly as possible, and to put the voice and strength of a human into it, and to make a beautiful, lovely form of a maiden, similar in her face to the immortal goddesses. He told Athena to teach her crafts, to weave richly worked cloth, and golden Aphrodite to shed grace in painful desire and limb-devouring cares around her head, and he ordered Hermes, the intermediary, to the killer of Argus, to put a dog's mind and a thievish character into her. So he spoke, and they obeyed Zeus, the Lord Cronus' son. Immediately, the famous lame one fabricated out of earth a likeness of a modest maiden. By the plans of Cronus' son, the goddess, bright-eyed Athena, gave her a girdle and ornaments. The goddess's graces and queenly persuasion placed golden jewelry all around her body. The beautiful haired seasons crowned her all around with spring flowers, and Pallas Athena fitted the whole ornamentation to her body. Then to her breast the intermediary, the killer of Argus, set lies and guileful words, and a thievish character. By the plans of deep thundering Zeus, and the messenger of the gods placed a voice in her, and named this woman Pandora, all gift. Since all those who have their mansions on Olympus had given her a gift, a woe for men who live on bread. I can't get this light right. Give me a second. Maybe right there. When he had completed the sheer intractable deception, the father sent the famous killer of Argus, the swift messenger of the gods, to take her as a gift to Epimetheus. Afterthought. And Epimetheus did not consider that Prometheus had told him never to accept a gift from Olympian Zeus, but to send it back again, lest something evil happens to mortals. It was only after he accepted her, when he already had the evil, that he understood. For previously the tribes of men used to live upon the earth entirely apart from evils, and without grievous toil and distressful diseases which give death to men. For in misery mortals grow old at once. But the woman removed the great lid from the storage jar with her hands, and scattered all its contents abroad. She wrought baneful evils for human beings. Only anticipation remained there in its unbreakable home under the mouth of the storage jar, and did not fly out. For before that could happen, she closed the lid of the storage jar by plans of the aegis holder, the cloud gatherer, Zeus. But countless other miseries roam among mankind, for the earth is full of evils, and the sea is full, and some sicknesses come upon men by day, and others by night, of their own accord, bearing evils to mortals in silence, since the counselor Zeus took their voice away. Thus it is not possible in any way to evade the mind of Zeus. If you wish, I shall recapitulate another story correctly and skillfully, and you lay it up in your spirit, how the gods and mortal humans being came about from the same origin. Golden was the race of speech-endowed human beings, with the immortals who have their mansions on Olympus. Made first of all, they lived at the same time of Cronus, when he was king in the sky, but like the gods, they spent their lives with the spirit, free from care, and entirely apart from toil and distress. Worthless old age did not oppress them, but they were always the same in their feet and hands, and delighted in festivities, lacking in all evils, and they died as if overpowered by sleep. They had all good things. The grain-giving field bore crops of its own accord, much and unstinting, and they themselves, willing, mild-mannered, shared out the fruits of their labors together with many good things, wealthy and cheap, dear to the blessed gods. But since the earth covered up this race by the plans of great Zeus, they are fine spirits upon the earth, guardians of mortal human beings. They watched over judgments and cruel deeds, clad in invisibility, walking everywhere upon the earth, givers of wealth, and this kingly honor they received. Afterward, those who have their mansions on Olympus made a second race, much worse, of silver, like the golden one, neither in body nor in mind. A boy would be nurtured for 100 years at the side of his cherished mother, playing in his own house, a great fool. But when they reached adolescence and arrived at the full measure of puberty, they would live for a short time only, suffering pains because of their acts of folly. For they could not restrain themselves from wicked outrage against each other, nor were they willing to honor the immortals or to sacrifice upon the holy altars of the blessed ones, as is established right for human beings in each community. Then Zeus, Cronus' son, concealed these in anger because they did not give honors to the blessed gods who dwell on Olympus. But since the earth covered up his race too, they are called blessed mortals under the earth in second place, but all the same honor attends upon these as well. Zeus, the father, made another race of speech-endowed human beings, a third one of bronze, not similar to the silver one at all, out of ash trees. Terrible and strong they were, and they cared only for the painful works of Ares and for acts of violence. They did not eat bread, but had a strong hatred spirit of adamant. Unapproachable they were, and upon their massive limbs grew great strength, and untouchable hands out of their shoulders. Their weapons were of bronze. Bronze were their houses. With bronze they worked. There was not any black iron, and these, overpowered by one another's hands, went down nameless into the dank house of chilly Hades. Black death seized them, frightful though they were, and they left behind the bright light of the sun. When the earth covered up this race too, Zeus, Cronus' son, made another one in turn upon the bounteous earth, a fourth one, more just as superior, the godly race of men heroes who are called demigods, the generation before our own upon the boundless earth. Evil war and dread battle destroyed these, some under seven-gated Thebes, in the land of Cadmus, while they fought for the sake of Oedipus' sheep. Others brought in boats over the great gulf of the Sea of Troy, to Troy, for the sake of fair-haired Helen. There the end of death shrouded some of them, but upon others Zeus, the father, Cronus' son, bestowed life and habitations far from human beings, and settled them at the limits of the earth, and these dwell with the spirit free of care on the islands of the blessed beside deep eddying ocean. Happy heroes for whom the grain-giving field bears honey, sweet fruit, flourishing 3 times a year. If only then I did not have to live among the fifth men, but could have either died first or been born afterward. For now the race is indeed one of iron, and they will not cease from toil and distress by day, nor from being worn out by suffering at night, and the gods will give them grievous cares. Yet all the same, for these people too good things will be mingled with evil ones. But Zeus will destroy this race of speech-endowed human beings too, when at their birth the hair of their temples will be quite gray. Father will not be like-minded and with sons, nor sons at all, nor guest with host, nor comrade with comrade, nor will the brother be dear as he once was. They will dishonor their aging parents at once. They will reproach them, addressing them with grievous words, cruel men who do not know of the gods' retribution, nor would they repay their aged parents for their rearing. Their hands will be their justice, and one man will destroy the other city. Nor will there be any grace for the man who keeps his oath, nor for the just man or the good one, but they will give more honor to the doer of evil and the outraged man. Justice will be in the hands, and reverence will not exist. But the man will harm the superior one, speaking with crooked discourses, and he will swear an oath upon them. And envy, evil-sounding, gloating, loathsome face will accompany all wretched human beings. Then indeed will reverence and indignation cover their beautiful skins with white mantles, leave human beings behind, and go from the broad path earth to the race of the immortals to Olympus. Baleful pains will be left for mortal human beings, and there will be no safeguard against evil.